to our official newspapers, the Asbury Park Press and the Coast Guard. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll roll call first.
Okay. Jimmy Alvarez. Danielle. Present. Bruce.
Present.
Jerry Fusco. Casey Castro.
No, she will not be.
Okay. Darlene. Present. Me. Here. Maria. Here. Johanna. Here. Sharon.
Here.
Mike.
Okay. Can I have approval of the minutes of the June meeting?
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so it was Bruce and Johanna. Okay, we're going to just take a quick moment to step outside to see a donation that's been given to the library. So, a few moments. Right out the back here.
I already saw it. We already looked at it. It's beautiful.
I heard you talking about
We found just kind of nice. Be nice to say.
Bolting it into
It's funny.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's a fiberglass bench, so it should last a good long time. It's about 450 pounds, just wondering about weight. So it was shipped to Bob. Bob painted it. Bob's the same gentleman, the artist that did the guitar in the front. So I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Anyone know?
Matarantula. What is it? Matarantula.
I wanted to make sure I didn't kill it, so thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
But, you know, I approached him on it along with the donor, and he was like, I want to do this. This is great. I'm like, okay. It's kind of a big job, but okay. So the name of the gentleman is on the back. It does say libraries. If you want to walk around the back and see it as well.
Where are you going to put it?
Well, that's what we're going to be discussing.
And it actually is not 400 because I helped lift it.
Oh.
It's yeah, we were worried it was. But
Oh, come on. You got the guns. I know.
No, 3 people on it. It's maybe 250.
Okay, so maybe when it was shipped with everything,
Yeah,
maybe the pallets
yeah,
and
yeah,
whatever,
maybe, yeah.
it might have been
I think
450 at that point. But yeah,
Miscalculated.
because I couldn't imagine.
It's not. Yeah.
Only works at this demographic. When you say it to those under 30s, they have no idea what you're talking about. Thanks, Stacey. Thanks for coming. We'll go through this presentation. So there's a couple of things. First of all of the information, the detailed information, plus the slides, are available to everybody at the end of the meeting. Secondly, when we get to the end, any type of communication moving forward that you need from the committee, we're more than happy to spend that time. However, it serves value for any of the board members. So we're here tonight for the strategic plan. This plan will act as a roadmap for the future. And provide guidance to our leadership and our folks working at the library to continue to support through the future our patrons and our customers and continue to satisfy and delight them. So we're here tonight to present that plan. So the committee David brought out, we have Leslie Norton is our leader, myself, Anita Pecorelli, Eileen Byrne. Alice. That's her sister. Those old school board members. Maria is our town councilman. Deb and Donna from the library are all on the committee. So we came up with a mission statement that basically is looking at our community, provides our diverse community and a welcoming opportunity to access information through all of the different media and paths that we have. The library and staff provide an inclusive environment in which our patrons can become successful in whatever they want to pursue and learn in the future. And the methodology that we use, so first of all, the Board of Trustees is responsible for the planning and functioning of the library. So the strategic plan that we came up with and presenting today is a result of the responsibilities of the board. So through the library director, David, we formed a committee with staff members, town residents, and used
Email,
yeah,
survey, newspaper articles,
social media,
flyers.
and
Is
face-to-face.
it glaring to you over there?
Yeah.
Hard to see?
I can't read that part.
Yeah.
So anyhow, what we did is
We did a lot.
we used all of the different methodologies to get as much feedback as we could on the plan. So gathering data becomes a very important thing. So 130 surveys, person-to-person, face-to-face meetings, well over 200 hours of work and research, and looked at other libraries. We met, discussed all different sorts of things. We know what the status of the Carnegie Library is, and more importantly, the wants and needs of our residents.
Door?
Brand new.
Thank you. So when we get to the later part of the strategic plan, we're going to be asking for significant improvements in the functioning of the library. But before we do that, we want to celebrate what we really, really do well. And our patrons really enjoy the services that we provide. And we can go through that with programs, cultural events, story times, community activities. People were really, really positive. And we should be really happy about that. Having said that, we do have things that we need to do. And I think the biggest and most important is the capital improvement plan. We'll see later with some of the metrics that the demand on the library is significantly increasing. To do that and support that, we need to have a functioning building that supports that moving forward. Technology. These are both infrastructure. We need to be able to have the backbone and training and support to fuel the future. Outreach. We have a very diverse community. We need to use all different types of aspects of outreach to get to those people, to continue to bring them into the library. And finally, the collection development, which you'll see some metrics that really, really show just how much demand is on the library. It's wonderful. So the details. If we're really going to start to look at capital improvements here, we have to look at ADA. We do need the improvements. Once we start, I'm not an engineer, I know people are here. Once we start, we have to conform to what the existing codes are. At a minimum, we feel a wheelchair ramp, an ADA bathroom, additional staff bathroom, improve the fire egress, and update the safety and aesthetic of the outside of the building. Additionally, but not ADA related, would be the fencing, landscape design, painting, furniture, LED lighting, And then we need to talk about whether physical expansion of the library in the distant future is something that needs to be taken into effect now as we do these other things. That may or may not be something, it's just something that we put out there. For technology, we need a dedicated server for the library. We need to update the software. Hire a part-time IT consultant dedicated to the needs of the library, and update the website and make it more mobile friendly. And of course, we got AI coming and things like that, which who knows about that. We just need to be prepared for ongoing technology improvement. Offer more classes. Provide additional ongoing staff training, and continue to expand our partnership with the school. Create a Belmar library app. So goal 3 is in outreach. Oops, sorry. And we want to increase the social media accessibility to make digital content more user-friendly. We want to update the hardware systems and tools for our staff and our patrons' use. And enlist a trained social worker to better understand the social issues facing our patrons. Increase outreach to hard-to-reach communities in Belmar, whether they're language or mobility or any of those things. We just need to get out to those folks. Better than we're doing now, which we're doing a really good job. Collection development. This is the one where the metrics show us what's where the growth is going. The year over year, blue is the most recent year. The yellow is before, the year before. As you can see, no matter with the little swell there, you still go from point A to point B. That's a significant increase. On the print circulation, Deb, this one here.
What these numbers just show is when the circulations are the number of books, obviously, that are going out. So this is, we did it from September 22 to September 23, and then 23 to 24, just so it would bring us to today. So that's why it starts in September. And you can see the increase year over year. This is an increase, all we did was run the major genres, you know, the areas of the circulation. So, not genre, I'm sorry, the subcategories. So, fiction, obviously, big jump. The large print, another big jump. That's a big one here. The E's, we called everyone. We used to say easy, but everyone. Mm-hmm. And the J books are the younger middle school. And the YA, which is always our toughest audience, it has gone up, but we'd like to see that one go up a little more. So this is basically a subsection of these numbers, but only by these specific categories of books. And this is all just print books in the library.
And this is the digital. We see the same. We're year over year. We're significantly increased our activity. I would think that we'd expect to see increased activity year over year in the future. So back to the strategic plan and just these metrics, that they show us that we're going to have a greater demand than today. And so we need to be able to service our customers and our patrons.
The digital is, we didn't differentiate here between e-books and audiobooks. These are e-books and audiobooks combined, all digital. So again, from September to September to August, again, big jump.
From one year to the next.
Big
Yellow's
jump.
1 year.
And these are the two major avenues of the patrons accessing these. So you can see here, both have gone up substantially. What I found interesting though is, this is really interesting, if I looked at this one closer, in Overdrive, it was more ebooks than audiobooks. And in Hoopla, it was more audiobooks than ebooks, which I thought was kind of interesting. But huge increase. in
Quick
demand.
question, the
Yeah.
hoopla numbers, do they include like all the categories that hoopla has, like movies, TV?
That,
That's
this is
separate.
strictly the,
Ebooks and audiobooks.
this is just books, ebooks and audiobooks.
Was there anything in the data, because you see obviously, starting in May of '24, it slopes up to August '24, then you go into September, it kind of continues along the same slope and peaks around January. Was there anything in the data indicating why that transition from May of '24 to January or May of '23 to January of '24?
Here,
Yes. So you see the slope on the orange, or
Yes.
yellow bars.
yeah, it's all
And
gone
that
up.
kind of continues right
Yeah.
back to the 24 data as the blue bar all the way to the left.
So he's saying,
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
the yellow, 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 then.
Chronologically,
goes
it
like
gets
that,
back up
like
there.
that.
Then it
Yeah.
seems to plateau
That is interesting.
around December, January. Was there anything in the data
Well,
that
there's a
spoke
couple
to
of things,
that?
yeah, there's a couple of things in there. One thing is there seems to be, even if you go back and look even further, the same months seem to have the same rise and fall. Like August always is a drop for some reason, a little bit. And so that's part of it. The other part of it is the actual, if you go through here, this is September, where am I? Okay, so September 22 through March, okay, if we look here, all right. In March, we started a major reorg here, where we weeded out like, I can't even tell you.
Is this just the digital, or is this
That
all-
were not circulated.
That was
Yeah.
for the print.
For the
print.
That's for
Oh,
the-
I'm sorry.
This is digital.
I'm-
You
Yeah,
said
yeah,
it was
yeah.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
digital, I'm sorry, I got confused.
Could you go back,
That was my, go back, yeah. This is not where we were for a minute,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
go ahead.
Did you see the same thing here? I don't know.
This you see a little different trend, because it seems to go,
Different
trend.
this seems to distinguish a seasonal trend
Yeah.
where you have incrementally more
Okay,
24
now
on average.
I understand what you're saying, because I thought I was looking at the print for a minute, go back to
Yeah,
the
when
digital.
we go to the
All right,
digital,
The digital has not been consistent for a long time, or those kinds of numbers have changed, because we were not buying digital materials at regular intervals. It wasn't a steady thing, like every month we buy this amount or whatever amount. So the numbers would change sometimes, I think, based on availability, all right? Because, I don't know if you want to get into the whole,
no, I don't
how
want
it
to, I
works.
just want to.
I did want to
yeah.
ask you
Yeah.
to talk about, because I think it's important.
Okay.
The digital
Okay.
purchasing.
I'll just do a quick, just
Yeah,
a
'cause
quick,
they're not gonna
because it's too
know.
much, I know.
Yeah, yeah.
We, for the digital books on the overdrive, this one here, we belong to a consortium of libraries across the state, and we have access to all their content, e-books, audiobooks. But we can also buy our own copies of these books, which then give our patrons priority on the wait list. So those numbers are not always consistent because we weren't buying and contributing to that collection as much. So I think that might be some of what you see there. Hoopla is something different. Hoopla is a subscription service. So it's not like, it's always available to whoever whatever you pay. And you can also now buy books on Hoopla as well, which is a relatively new thing, they're flex titles. So I think maybe that might be part of
My
why.
specific question is with regard to whether or not we think this upward trend that we described is associated with more supply or more demand.
I think
You
it's
know,
both.
I was
Or
gonna
if
say
it's,
combination.
and whether or not what we're seeing in the last 6 or 7 months is more of a plateau
I
versus
think
the
it's,
upward trend we saw for the prior year.
yeah, I think it's a combination of both, because I
And a
think a lot
component
of
of
times.
seasonality, Michael, which I think.
No, I understand. I
There's a
understand that by
component of
comparing it
that
to
as
the previous
I think if
chart.
we went, say, 24
Mhm.
back, we would be able to see the seasonality.
Yeah,
If there's an
that's true
effective
too.
seasonality within.
Even so, you
within the
see,
metric.
you see a wider delta in these early months.
Right, it goes up,
I
up,
think
up,
you
up,
see,
up,
I
up,
think
then
the
it goes up, up, up,
I
then
think
it
some of
has-
the
yeah.
smaller trending would definitely be seasonality.
I think some of it, I think you're right, but I think it's both supply and demand. And I think that what this doesn't show is when people go into borrow an ebook and it's not
It's not there.
available because we don't own it and maybe there's such a long wait on it that
That
people
happens to me a
just
lot.
either give up
Yeah.
or they just sit on the wait list for a long time, and that book that they asked for in April wasn't available until July, maybe. So those numbers could also be off for that reason. You're not, just because you go into borrowing.
That's specifically what we should target in on, because if they're using your example there, if they're waiting for April and into July, maybe that's the reason that we have a bit of a plateau on the bright blue lines instead of continuing on the trend.
And I'm sure that that's probably, some of it is because of demand for summer reading.
Absolutely.
And
So,
then, Deb, you know, we also were gonna talk about starting an in-house collection, so that's like different than all of this.
Well, yeah, this is, yeah.
So do you wanna say
That's
that
right.
too?
Well, we want to expand the e-access, absolutely. And we want to buy more of our own titles that will have, that our patrons will have access to. So we've got to look at avenues to do that as well.
I have a question. Do you have a range of ages for the data? Like, is
I
it
didn't run that, but I could do it by subcategory, and there are, I saw just in, because I didn't want to put too many graphs, because
Yeah, no, I
everybody's
get
having
you.
it slow. But you will see there is a little bit more of a jump in the younger patrons. Kids are,
Or
yes,
you say, wow.
not big numbers, nowhere
Do you
near.
think it's more like 60 and over, 40 to
A lot of them were, I would say YA.
YA?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But they're more accessible. And sometimes, some of the parents do borrow kids' books for, the younger kids. There is an increase in the younger crowd, but not,
That actually surprised me because
Yeah.
schools have so many other subscriptions.
Yeah.
I would think that they would use the school subscriptions
Yeah.
and then this would be more the 20, 30, 40-year-olds.
Uh-huh. Yeah, oh, it's definitely more of that.
Okay.
No, there's no mistake about it. But there is a little bit of an increase in the kids using it. And you can see, like I said, the bigger numbers, if I would have gone into 50,000 graphs, everybody would have.
Yeah, they're gonna go
Oh,
crazy.
I like
Just
graphs.
to see that.
I like
We were
graphs.
scaling, give me that stuff. I'll make a whole set for you.
We were scaling back the graphs, so like,
But I think these, both
interesting.
collections, the data here shows that the services that the library is providing is significantly increasing over time. If it wasn't, if it was going in the opposite direction, I don't think we'd be here talking about the improvements. We'd be talking about something different. So that's.
Now, Mark, challenging your wording, this graph here isn't necessarily saying what we're providing, this is saying what's getting consumed.
The demand levels.
Yeah, and of course, if you're constrained by supply,
Yes.
but having said that, what we really wanted to look at here is where are the numbers really going? So everybody had opinions about numbers, so when we started to lay the metric in, and of course, as somebody brought up, there's detail under that. And if you really wanted to see and improve something, you use that detail. How many young adults are doing? What are they looking at? Do we capture that data? It's another reason why we need improvements in the IT area, Michael.
All right.
So our next steps and expectations. As I said, we've been working on this for quite a period of time. So to us, this is all, we could repeat this to each other without looking at it. This is the first time you've seen it. There's a tremendous amount to digest. We just want to let you know where.
As you're talking, I'm gonna start handing out the.
Yes, and we have all of the detail for that as well as this. So just from a process perspective, what we would like to see is that if there's any discussion tonight or future discussion, we'd be more than happy to sit down with any and all under any different groupings. We would like in the very beginning for any communication to go directly through our facilitator, Leslie Norton, so that we don't have multiple lines of communication in case somebody is asking a question.
But you might want to jot down her email address and.
And you'll
phone number,
get
because
this
it's not
whole-
on that.
You get the
Yeah.
entire presentation and plus the detail. Plus
Yeah,
also
yeah,
the
we'll give
detail
you
of
this.
the data, if you'd like to do a data dive.
And if I could say something more?
Yeah, sure.
So my suggestion for this would be for us to take this information, read this information. If you have any questions, we go directly to Leslie. Leslie will make sure at the next meeting that she shares all of the communication and responses, your questions, her responses in the next meeting in a discussion. And then at that, my thought would be that Leslie would be at that meeting as well, hopefully.
I think we were all planning to come to that
We were
meeting.
saying No, we were thinking if you
Yep.
have an October
21st.
meeting,
Yeah.
we would be at it.
Right.
And then even in November.
Yeah, my thought would be to
This
maybe vote
year.
and approve if there's any modifications you want, or if it looks good to you, that we approve it in November. That's just my recommendation. So a month to discuss as a group, meaning October, and then we finalize it, and we vote on it in November, unless you feel we should do it all in October. But I think it would be better to read it all individually, communicate with Leslie through email or through phone call. She shares it all.
I can meet in person too, so if someone really wants to sit down, or you have questions, or you're not sure, like, whatever you need, I'm available. So call,
But-
text, whatever, we'll, just so everybody gets the information that they need.
But again, that is just my recommendation. You are the voting board members, so you probably, once they're done the presentations, you probably want to discuss the process, if you feel you want to go in that direction, or if you want to do it in a different way.
Dave, could I just say like one
Yeah,
word?
sure.
I just wanted to say, the people that you chose to be on the committee were incredibly diverse, and they worked like dogs. They were, like, this is the best, I've never worked with a group of people that is so hardworking and so dedicated to your library. I mean, they love this town, and they love this library, and I will say that every single one of them worked so hard to make this happen. So we appreciate your time, and we really appreciate you listening to us tonight, because they really have Belmar's best interest at heart and Belmar Library's best interest at heart. Every single thing they did was to make it better here. So they really care. I just wanted you to know that I was very pleasantly surprised. It was just an unbelievably good group to work with, really. So thank you, Mark, especially, and everybody. You have a beautiful town, you have a beautiful library.
Does anybody have any questions though? Like, we kind of went through a lot.
It's kind of hard, so.
Yeah, we get it.
We will send it to you, a digital copy as well, but you have a hard copy there,
Right, give
and
us
we get a digital.
Yeah, we'll
This
send
is
you just a mini version of that.
Yeah, this is the full report, that's the highlights.
And if anyone speaks, so if any of the board members speak to you when you're here, you have to share that
Yeah.
with Leslie.
Yeah.
So if the thing gets at the meeting, it's,
Right, so
word-
it funnels through one.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that we chose with Leslie telling us to do this, to put in, even if it's already been implemented or it's starting to be implemented, there's so much already that we've been doing as the board towards these goals. And so we added them in there even though we're working on them, because we want them to be written down that these are still, this is the plan.
Anything else? Okay. To the committee, thank you very much.
Thank you.
From the board, thank you.
I'm gonna stay on. You're gonna stay? Okay. You okay if I leave? I should go about. Just walking.
Feel free.
Mark, you're
Committee was-
awesome. Well done.
That was amazing.
Stay or go, yeah.
That's hard.
He was really
He
good.
was great.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This is.
Thank you all. We very
Whose
much
box is that?
appreciate you.
Leslie, that's not your box, right? No, you didn't bring it.
It is my box. It's my box of valuable information. My special box that says Belmar.
All right, bye guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the party.
Bye.
Mark, thank you.
Yeah, back to the party.
Save me some cake.
I'll save you some of the.
I want cake. Send me cake.
Cake.
Okay, thanks, Norman.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I think we're up to library update.
So I think what we're gonna do is I'll have Louis talk about what's happening in the future, in the next month with the programs, because I have a few things I wanted to talk about that relate to what's happening, so we'll just give you a good background of what's coming up and what happened in the past.
All right, so we had a pretty eventful summer. We had our June celebration, Juneteenth celebration contest. Concert, I'm sorry. That was pretty well attended, and the concert was very well done as always. The Summer Youth Art Program had its 7 sessions. It had a total attendance of 61 students through the program, which was pretty good. It's, throughout across all the classes. And we had our summer concert series, and you can see what each one's on my first page. Those numbers are the attendance figures for those events. So as you can see, we had some pretty strong attendance across the summer concerts, some more than others, but overall, very well done. And I'm obviously looking forward to a great Pat Roddy performance as well. The Ebor band is particularly did very well. And I was kind enough to tell them that we were going to upgrade them to a 2 Porta-John event next year when they come in. So that's how good they were. So they love that. So all the concerts went off without a hitch. They started and stopped it right on time with no issues, no problems that came up. We had 4 author time events over the summer. Chris Bogart, Lucille Madalena, who is a local Belmar author, and Natalie Fisher Pinchetti and David Hamilton Gallant. So really diverse group of authors from poetry about the war in Ukraine to professional development tasks. Journal writing, and finally a history of American rock and roll was going out. And so overall the events there, and of course in addition to it, we had our all our fitness classes going on on a mix of either Taylor Pavilion and throughout the summer at the gym. And there was some scheduling around to do, but everyone's kind of working through. And as of September 3rd, all fitness classes have returned back to Taylor Pavilion. So coming up, we are going to be busy little bees for what we got going on. The first thing coming up is the end of summer concert featuring Pat Roddy Band. Okay, we're going to have pizza that night, so we're going to put the place in order, so we should be getting them out there. The next big event, the first of 3 events for our celebration of Latin American Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, will be our Latin American dance party, featuring a band called the Rafa Boys. They're right from New York. I had a fun time researching and finding these guys. They're very good. I really hope to bring a band that brought life and activity and fun to the event, and not just someone playing just by rote people. We have that catered by Santo Ceviche. We have, the menu is going to be, it's for 150 people planned. Arroz con pollo, we have empanadas, calza, which is a cold potato cake seasoned with lime juice and Peruvian yellow peppers, and we're going to have fried sweet plantains for everybody, so which is going to be really good. And we got that, and they gave us a very good deal on that as well. So that'll be 6 p.m. Taylor Pavilion at September 26th. That's going to be a night that anyone who wants to volunteer to help, please do. What do you do? Okay, serving the food and just dealing with the rest of the band. And then we get the party, because it's going to be a dance party, so we're going to have a lot of fun. Okay, in October, we have the Latin American Field Day, the second major event. That's going to be where we're going to turn the library into Latin America. Okay, we're going to have a soccer goal, we're going to have a penalty kick activity, we're going to have a Day of the Dead arts and craft table. We have our Zumba instructors going to be here to teach salsa and merengue dance lessons in the front yard. And on the inside, we're going to have different stations of different major landmarks like Machu Picchu, Iguazu Falls in Argentina, Chichen Itza in Mexico, that kind of thing. So people can actually tour a little bit in town here. Also, we're going to have an event where they're going to have all the country's flags will be scattered around in a scavenger hunt type thing. Kids will be getting a little photo album, and they'll be able to go to each one, get a card that has their flag and country tags, and they'll be able to build their own passport and take home with them. So this is something they can learn and keep with them as they go on. Then we go into a live animal series, beginning with Precious Pinelands, which includes an owl. So we will have an owl. And then the fall Beach Readers Book Fair, the adults, featuring 30 local authors, will be at Taylor Pavilion. Just like last time, they'll be all lined up on tables, they'll be displaying their books, and they're gonna be selling their books to the public as it comes down. The first one earlier this spring was very successful, so we're happy to bring that back. That's just for adults, authors. And the children's authors will be later on in the month on the 29th. Okay, and then the third and final Latin American month will be bringing a homegrown off-Broadway musical, Coyote, by Tim McCory, who's been developing it over the past 10 years, right from here at Belmar. And they're going to be coming with some actors and some stage crew with Tim to talk about it and show scenes of the play, of the musical. And the Coyote tells the story of immigrants coming from, specifically a Guatemalan immigrant, journeying his way across Mexico to cross over the border. And it highlights the story of that journey and their ordeal and what.
Pat and I saw that live this summer, it was wonderful, it was really fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome. So I'm looking forward for that. Then we got the Children's Halloween Movie Night, featuring the movie Mad Monster Party. That movie was made by the same group that did Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the other ones that we've done. And in November we have more live animals. We have wolves, we have penguins, and we have reptiles. And in November 7th we have our next Diwali celebration. Okay, and that's on December 7th. So on November 7th, I'm sorry. And I'm in the process of putting together a Christmas program as well. And there'll be more, and there's going to be more author times as well that I have already lined up. At least I think I have another like 4 or 5 author times in that time. So that's what we got going on, set up for our upcoming events. Wait, anybody have any questions or anything?
We have a couple questions.
Yes.
Do we have rain dates for any of the outside?
Not at this time, but we can, the only outside ones we have is just Pat Roddy and the field day.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
'cause I was just worried about the field day. I just think of what happened this past weekend.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure that people are aware, because I know a couple of people
I
said
can
they
come
were
up.
told, so.
Yeah.
The field day should be easy because I think we'll have whatever.
Right.
So, okay, so I'll work on
Also, I'm sorry,
I was just gonna say we should communicate with the school before we set that.
just, right, it's not covered.
that. Okay.
Will you be videotaping for the field day?
Yeah, I could, yeah, we could
I'm not
videotape.
gonna be here, so I'd love to see it.
Okay.
It's just for me, no, I'm not. But yeah, no, I'd love to, it sounds like it's gonna be
I'll
wonderful,
FaceTime.
so.
Is that it?
Okay, yeah, you can FaceTime me.
I'm sorry?
That's all ages, field day.
All ages, all ages. So
Um,
Bruce wants to kick it back, he can do that.
I did see on the news today, I was just watching the Today Show, Jimmy Fallon has a new book out for Halloween. I was thinking maybe we could get that might be a good one to read. There's been a lot of hoopla about it, so I don't remember the name of it, but it's his new book, it just came out, so it might, and it's a children's book for Halloween, so just wanted to mention that. Great.
Do you have anything?
No, just, we wrapped up the summer reading. We had our raffle drawings on Saturday, and it went well. It was, the kids were very excited, and we get a little nervous because the ones that don't win, you feel bad. But they were great, and they all got a little certificate for
Certificates,
participating,
that's
so,
nice.
and I picked up munchkins on the way, so they were happy.
There you go.
They got a munchkin and a certificate even if they didn't win a prize. But the prize winners were all locals, which always makes me happy because we do have a lot of kids are here visiting in the summer and they do the summer reading. And, but all the kids who won were local, so.
And I heard that you videotaped it so that no one could say.
Yes.
They did like a FaceTime Live. You've got to do that nowadays because people will
Well,
say.
I have the video, but I don't post anything
No.
because, but I have.
Yeah, no, I heard some of the girls upstairs.
Yeah, so
that's
it was
great.
good. It went very well and the kids were happy. That's all that matters.
That's it.
So we're
And they
already
were great
thinking for next
prizes.
year.
You had a Kindle in there and an Amazon card and.
Yeah.
We need to do an adult one. Adult
That'd be
reading,
an
so we can maybe win something.
We could consider that one. Yeah, so we're already thinking about next year's theme, so.
Okay,
Okay.
So in terms of the events, the Hispanic Heritage events, I just want everyone to know that, like the strategic plan wanted us to make sure that we go out to the communities and go to them rather than expect them to know what's going on here. I just want you to know I'll be communicating with the school. I'll be meeting with some parents that I've developed good relationships with when we were doing all types of different things where I had to depend on them to help me get into the community, not just the Spanish-speaking community that have children, but anyone in the community that speaks Spanish. So I'll be at the school handing out brochures, talking to certain parents, certain leaders in the community that we've done in the past. So I just want you to know, putting things out in the restaurants, meeting with, there's actually, I think in Seagirt, the Catholic Church there, they have a time where there's a large
Saint
percentage,
Muriel?
yeah, a bar, yeah.
Saint Muriel?
Yeah, Mary Pat Wallace, who was our nurse for years, she developed a support group there, and so I'll be communicating with Mary Pat and speaking there to promote these times. I wanted to wait till the craziness of the school died down, and now it's ready to go. So I just wanted you to know that I'll be doing that.
St. Rose has it.
Look forward, yeah,
has a
St.
program.
Rose, yeah.
That's great too.
And I've been in communication with them because they were thinking about using this facility. In terms of one of the things I was looking at, Lois, I haven't talked to you about this yet, but the numbers seem to be a little bit lower with the authors, so maybe we emphasize more during the year and not during the summer. I don't know. The numbers were
I was thinking along the same line.
Yeah.
Because in fact, originally going into the summer, the plan was to have 2 author times a month. But early on, I saw the low attendance, and then so I cut that back to just 1 a month.
Yeah.
So, because I think it's just, and I don't know if that's due to everyone just gone, or whether well, I don't think it's a subject matter, because a couple of the author times are actually well attended.
What's the average in the off-season?
Well,
Yeah,
define
so
off-season, in the front.
Every other month except the summer.
It kind of varies. Part of it has to do with what the topic matter is, you know.
But are they as low as?
But it's
like
usually
the summer?
10 or more.
No, it's usually
right?
10.
Yeah.
So we've had some
So there
authors
was
that were
definitely a
10 to
decline.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah, the summer. So, which we've talked about whether we consider next year our hours different during the summer. If that's something, I think it's the same thing. It's just it increases more in the fall. You know. Just wanted you to know that the Broadway music, we planned on, whenever we have the cultural events, we try to, if we can, do 2 things. One that has adults and children, but something that emphasizes children as well. That was our plan. But then I just want you to know the Broadway musical is actually free, right? They're promoting that.
Oh, our event?
Yeah,
that's free.
Yeah, that's free. So why would we not do that? As,
Yeah.
You think,
That
well,
costs
that's
us
3
nothing.
events. Yeah. So
it costs us nothing.
And so I just wanted you to know that. Pat Roddy on next Thursday. I just want you to tell me what you think, just real quick. We'll have pizza and water again. That's the big group that comes. But do you want me to try to? I'm willing to. Most of the hot dog vendors, they're not willing to fill out for the vendor packet. Do you want me to pay them and then the town can pay me, or are you happy with pizza and water? That's fine. That's good. Okay. I just have some people coming up to me and saying, you used to have hot dogs, and I just want to, it's not a lot.
Sunny's is right down the road.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll get rid of the pizza and just give you water at that point.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, just wanted to ask. There you go. All right. Okay, and then I will be bringing up during our old business, because we discussed before the fitness classes and whether we should charge non-residents, so I'll bring that up. But lastly, bilingual story time. It was very successful, but our reader who went to school here, when they became a high school student, she is at Rowan. She was considering going to Rowan or Brookdale. We thought she was going to go to Brookdale.
She wound up in Rowan.
Where is she?
She wound up in
Montclair? No.
near Montclair.
Yeah.
There's another school distance with the
Caldwell
sea.
College.
Caldwell, yeah, Caldwell.
Okay, I thought she was going to Rowan.
She wasn't.
Oh, she
Last
was?
minute decision.
Oh, just changed.
Okay.
Okay.
And she went up to
So,
Caldwell.
so therefore, I am looking for a way to continue that. One of the thoughts is to have story time on the weekends and have a National Junior Honor Society, or Honor Society students speak Spanish from the high school to come with Patty and Joyce on the weekends, because the kids will be available on weekends. It's easier for parents. So I just wanted you to know.
No, she was an intern.
Yeah, yeah.
She was really good.
She was great.
And the other thing we did talk about, and I'm just trying to explain why maybe there was some changes with the cultural events. We did talk about not serving food, but the deal that they were offering us, where they're not gonna make things and hand them out, was so much less, and I think it's gonna be good. I just wanted you to know that's why we made that change. That wasn't a plan, so, that's it.
I just had a topic or a question with regards to the author times. Do you think it would be advantageous to actually personally put a sign at the senior building? Like, I'm wondering if the seniors might enjoy author time, but they may not know about it. Like, they're probably not on the internet. I'm just thinking.
I think anything now, I'm thinking to go over there. I mean, I did, when I started here, I went over and met with everyone there, but I think we could do a better job of communicating.
Maybe if we could ask them to just, if we can have a special
Spot.
library spot, where
Yeah.
we can just come and just supply with the latest updates and things like that.
They could use another board, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's so much on their boards,
Yeah.
and things get lost.
Okay.
So I mean, maybe that's
Is the
something
board
we could
okay if we
even,
purchase that?
that,
I'll
What
we'll
was
put
the
it up,
board?
okay. Okay, I'll call the
Just put
director.
library events.
Library
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that they know specifically that those are the things. Because
Yeah, I
I
think
really
that's a
miss
great
when
idea.
they used to come here for Opera Day and, you know, things like that. I don't know if transportation's an issue.
So I think it is, that was there, and just my thought with that is something we should discuss, I could talk to the school, is the school does have 3 small buses now. And I did talk to Jimmy about it, so there would be a cost involved, but it would be reasonable, and so if you'd like me to research that, bring that back the next meeting, I can do that, you know, in terms of how much it pays for the driver and, you know, and things like that.
So do they have a senior bus? Like, I know there's something that's supposed to allow them to take, like SCAT, you know, where they would
They
take them for
do,
doctor
but
visits and things like that, but is there
I just
something-
think we would have more flexibility.
Obviously,
to just-
yeah.
Yeah, but.
Specifically with the cultural events and things along those lines, it might
Yeah.
afford us an opportunity to get to an underserved population.
Yeah, all right.
Along the lines of our outreach, the school is an easy target because it's somewhat of a hub, but that would definitely be an outreach target for all of our services.
Okay.
Danielle brought up a good point about after hours, like, you know, normally they probably only work till maybe 3, but most of our events are in the evening.
Yeah.
Would we have maybe better access to using a van so that they can be picked up at 6
Okay.
and dropped off at 8 or whatever?
I'll bring that back.
Was there any insurance
Oh,
issue with
Yeah,
regards to
so
that?
that's where, yeah.
I would think that that's somewhat handled by the school. They should have a process for that because they outsource to other districts.
Yeah.
So they should have some sort of process for that sort of outsourcing because they do shared services with other districts. for
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
After school things, right? Don't they all, no?
It's used for the school stuff, it's used for students that were Belmar students who
Oh,
go to
special.
special needs schools and things like that.
Well, it's being used for athletic events too, right? It's going to.
Is it this year?
Yeah, because
Last
the
year it
cost,
wasn't.
yeah, last year, but it's going to, because the
Actually-
cost to get a bus to have kids go over to Avon for 2 hours is ridiculous.
And then
So
you're
this
getting
was,
another teacher.
oh, to getting certified?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh.
good. Yeah.
They use
Someone
George
just
degree
take-
for
It
that.
is not somebody else's table. That's where I put my foot down.
All right.
To drive the bus, to be a bus driver.
So I'll bring up, we can talk about it in old business, the fitness class.
Okay.
Okay?
All righty. Treasurer.
What do you have to tell us?
All right, so our June budget amount was $864,574. We spent to date $252,475.76. Waiting to pay the vendor was $28,842.76. So that left with us our budget of $583,255.48. Our July balance was $864,574. Our spent to date was $299,918.03. Waiting to pay the vendor was $36,414.09, with a balance of the budget of $528,241.88. And our August budget was $864,574. We spent to date $357,556.83. And waiting to pay the vendor was $31,030.82, leaving us with the balance of budget of $475,986.35.
David, have we paid out on the windows?
Only about $30-some thousand to Avakian. So the 200 and some thousand has not been paid.
The contractor has not yet been paid.
That's correct, that's correct.
Okay, mine's going to be short. Just want to give everyone an update regarding professional hours. We do not have a minimum at this point of the 9 that we need to have for professional trustee hours, so I know Darlene has already given me hers, I have mine, but anyone else that has gone and logged in and watched some, we need to get those hours in before the end of the year. Let's see.
Can you send us that link again?
Sure, thank you so much. So, NJ, LTA, something like that.
It's easier just watching when they happen.
Yeah, it is. The proposed calendars that have been coming up with upcoming events that's created by Lewis have been quite helpful. Thank you so much. I like that they're present in the library as well as being distributed at some of the events. For example, when we had the last concert, we had a whole stack of them left. I just kept giving them out. People were like, oh, thank you. So, you know, even though they were the ones for the following month, people wanted to know, like, when's Pat, when's this, when's that. So it makes it really, really easy when we have them in advance. So I think it helps to promote the library as well as helping patrons to plan ahead, all of which helps to increase the attendance at the events and allows others to plan ahead. Hopefully these events are also distributed to the local schools. I think you said they were going to be doing that, and businesses, as well as, I post a couple of things for some other committees that I'm on at the bulletin board in the borough. And everyone goes to pay the water bill or tax bill, they look at the board, and so that's just another place to have it posted.
I don't see about having it posted at the laundromats as well.
Ah, there you go. Any place where people are
In
kind of a
Spanish.
captive audience.
In Spanish.
In Spanish, yeah.
There you go. That's
If we
good.
have a few extras, for our council meetings, we have a table going into the courtroom, and that's a good place to put them on as well.
Okay.
Are they,
So tomorrow night, right? Tomorrow night.
Right.
What?
are they in Spanish also?
Not all of them, but I can convert them over.
We've done it in the past, but
I think
not
they,
for this one.
yeah. And I think especially with the 26th being a big day, I would love to be able. Oh, and that's what just to go back for a minute, because we mentioned that date. I was at a recent event over the weekend, I think it was a Belmar event over at Patilla Pavilion, and they had the kids that were helping there. If we could get those kids to come and help for, they were unbelievable. They had little notepads, they were taking orders and stuff like that. Now, I know we're not having them take orders, but they were so well prepared for what they did.
Most of the kids mostly the
Well,
kids
who-
for the
who were
PTO.
Peer leader.
Kids.
Oh, PTO
Peer
kids,
leaders, yeah.
peer leaders, oh, so
No,
peer leaders?
I think it was just the,
Do you still do peer
It was
leaders?
the kids and the parents for the most.
yeah, it was mostly the parents.
But they
Okay.
were so
They are-
good.
they were
I mean,
amazing.
I was
They were
just amazed, I really was. And I know that like we have Diwali coming up and, you know, so if we can
Yeah.
get those kids or similar ones,
Yeah.
I just kept saying, they're so good.
Who was the PTO president? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Jen
No, no, no.
Who was it?
Bielsi, Jen Bielsi.
With the Diwali, are we serving food?
Yeah.
Who are we using as a vendor?
Well, that's the thing. So we've been
We have
using,
our own.
we've been using the
Red Bank.
Bombay River in Red Bank. But I'm going to be approaching the one in town.
Down in the mall.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's gotten to the point where we kind of have to serve because of the cost.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? When
Yeah.
we do it,
Yeah.
it's,
Right.
so,
Yeah.
because they can give us more and quickly.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
expensive if we ask them to make things, have 200 or 150.
And I know with Diwali, we do have the local supermarket in town, Super Saver, I think it. We could put some of the signs of upcoming events there.
Yeah.
Everyone goes there, it seems, it's very, very popular, so I just want to make sure that we don't exclude them as well. And then I think that you're going to be addressing the screens, so I'm just going to talk about that.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm done. So we're going to go to old business now.
So just real quick on the windows, the screens, I'm talking to Sam. I was unsure whether that was part of the bid or not, but, so I did text him. He didn't get back to me yet, but is that something that we want, if it wasn't part of the bid, to have screens to be able to open up the windows? I think it was, and I tried to look for it, but I couldn't find it. So, I just,
Yeah.
you know?
No.
No.
And I know we talked about it,
Yeah. So
but a lot.
I know we did take some things out at one point, like the door was in it at one point and it was pulled out. So I don't know, the screens might have as well, but is that something that you want me to research the cost, for what that would be? And I'm guessing, I don't know, do you think they'd be open for custom screens for?
That's the reason, exactly.
Is it gonna
I
be
didn't
over
plan that, but
2,000
yeah.
For custom screens, yes. So that would be something that you're gonna have to approve because it's over 2,000. So I'll do some research and come back to you with that. I'll talk to Sam.
Because I mean, a
That
night
sounds
like
pretty
tonight,
important.
yeah, like a night like tonight, which is nice and cool, it's great to be able to just
And it
open
would-
up.
It would just be the front two windows, obviously not up top,
Right.
or the
Yeah,
back,
just
just the
the
front,
front,
yeah, just the
yeah,
front.
the two, you can.
The 10th Avenue
so,
side, yeah.
Okay.
Is that something we could go through tailors, since they do screens?
I would.
We want to start with the window manufacturer and see
Yeah.
what systems they operate, see if
Because of the
it's
cost.
consistent with the windows we have going in.
So we can
First
see
place
there,
is
that
going.
would be another choice, so it's correct.
Yeah.
Because it's just gonna be for the lower ones, it's not gonna be for the pieces that we're waiting for. It's
Yeah.
just for what's already installed.
Now to the fitness classes, I had talked to everyone, but I thought it would be best for us to talk as a group. My recommendation for the fitness classes, they really have been taken over by recreation, by Barry, our classes, but they're supported by us. So on Tuesday and Friday, we have 2 classes each. And then on Monday, there's 1 class. On Wednesday, there's 1 class, and 2 classes on Thursday. So that's 4 that are rec. Right now, the residents pay $5, non-residents pay $5 for the classes that were originally rec. And the classes on Tuesday and Friday that were originally the library are not paying. However, from the beginning, I always said that it would be something that, on a yearly basis, that we would check with the board to decide. that money coming in, if it was $5 for the non-residents, that would go to recreation to support them, because it's a rec event. It's just easier for them all to be the same. However, I do think we have a few members here that might feel that we should continue to have it free for non-residents. So I just wanted to bring it up to the group, and I think $5 for non-residents is a very good price. I know that that's what the other.
What other programs do we charge for?
Well, really, we don't charge for anything.
What is our logic, or what is our,
because
we
it's
don't have policy?
Yeah, because
what
it's
is our logic?
Why to do this?
Why is it this specific program that we feel we should charge for?
Yeah, because it's really not our programs anymore.
Then why don't we just give it to rec?
Well, that's right, and that's really what I was thinking.
So we're out.
Yeah, but we're still supporting.
How are we supporting it?
Financially for the instructors, because we're using, the facility, and we are, so that's what we've been doing.
I very adamantly feel that we should not charge for services without, I'm going to say, a reasonable rationale. Now, my kids use the art program, we don't charge for it. The art programs do have consumables. So if we were going to charge for something, there's an incremental cost for the consumables. Why don't we charge for that?
Because that is a library event at the library.
Yeah. Why don't we charge for food at the Wally or at the soda bread contest? Why don't we charge for food there? What is the
does not have
difference?
it, because it's
What's the
a
difference?
collaboration with recreation. That's not a collaboration.
I don't understand why we would then need to collaborate. If recreation has the need to generate this revenue,
Yeah.
I don't understand why we need to be a party to it.
Yeah. The problem would be is if we did this and gave it to them and said, we're out, we don't donate the $50.
It would go bad, the programs would go bad.
Well, the problem would be then they would have to charge residents again $5.
Well, then,
We're saying non-resident would be
I
paying
understand we're saying
$5.
non-resident. What if a non-resident wants to go to the cultural events and eat something? Should we charge the non-residents for that?
No, that's different though.
How is it different? I don't understand.
Because the events that we're having are through the library, not through the recreation.
I don't see why we need to subsidize the recreation department. When I looked at this when I came on board, I said, why does the library have anything to do with concerts and fitness classes and things along those lines? And the justification I came to when this library was founded, it wasn't just a big building full of books that I grew up with, and that was part of the library, was a building full of books. When this library was founded, it was a community hub, it was a cultural hub, it was entertainment. There were very limited portions of entertainment, it was enrichment. There's so many different things, so that's why these programs make sense to me. However, if we're going down the road of charging for these activities, I feel very uncomfortable with that. This should be one of the last bastions of a free product.
I think if we're offering it here, it's different. We used to have yoga here. We used to have a lot of services right here in this building. If we're using the gym, like St. Rose uses the gym, and things can be talked about further, but they also pay to finish the floor each year. There is a cost to the borough to continue to have more people in the borough and using the borough. That are non-residents, I don't know that that's exactly.
Are we specifically turning non-residents, or are we turning
We're
non-patrons?
We're only talking about non-residents.
Are we talking non-residents, or are we talking non-patrons?
Non-resident.
Well, so if you live at Wall, you're paying.
If you have a library card, doesn't matter, you're paying.
That's correct.
Well, you pay for
Exactly.
your library card too,
Because
right?
the
If
li-
you're
the
not
library
resident,
card-
you pay for
the
the library.
library
You're not legal.
I understand you pay for the library card,
Yeah.
and that is an incremental cost, because there's an administrative fee, it's a one-time cost, and there are administrative aspects tied to that, so I understand the rationale behind charging someone for a library card. You gotta buy a card that it's printed on. I understand that.
Yeah.
But to differentiate this one program and say, well, we're gonna monetize this because it's a good program, I don't understand why the library has to be a part of that. You know, I think the recreation department could very well just take it over, and then they could do that. You know, the town itself could take over the program and monetize it however they want. Whatever is in the interests
With that,
I
of the
think you'd
specific
see a
taxpayer.
cut in programming, is what I think.
so if the thought would be yes, to hand it over to recreation, but I wanna make sure, are we still supporting the programs there because we're paying for the instructors, because we're using that facility, and we started saying that we could help with recreation, so then the residents wouldn't have to pay. You know what I mean? So I guess I'm asking you,
Sounds to me like we're footing the bill for the instructors so that the town can collect revenue off the program, which I understand is a business model, it's quite a reasonable business model.
But we're
I
only
would
putting the
agree.
bill, so there's certain instructors that we're footing the bill for,
No,
correct?
all of them.
All of them now?
See, I don't have a problem with the program.
I understand his
And I don't,
process.
and my question is, when I go back to the art program, consumables, there's an incremental cost per user of that program. My children are users of that program, so it would, if I had to pay for it, then it would come out of my pocket, I have to pay for that. But that would make more sense than if we have 10 residents, we're gonna run this program, it doesn't cost us any more to have 30 people in the room per se. Now, if that's undue wear on the facility, and the facility can't handle that, then maybe we need to look at a different approach to it or a different facility. You know, but the idea of identifying a library subsidized or otherwise sponsored event to be a revenue generator just strikes me as inappropriate.
Well, does the other events that the recreation, that the uses or does, if there are non-residents, do they charge?
is there a charge for rec events if they are non-residents? I think there is, yeah.
Registration
for non-residents. Yeah.
Right, and
There's
that's
some
what,
of them, yeah.
and that's what we're talking about.
Especially
as far as
soccer programs.
It would be non-residents, it's not anybody that's a resident of Belmar, correct?
Correct.
And also, is it with,
It seems like we're just monetizing something for the sake of having a product that's easy to
I
sell.
don't agree with that.
It
As far as
seems
that's what
you have something in high demand. We have demand, okay? So we are selecting this program because it is easy to monetize.
I don't think that's why
To
we're
be
doing it.
consistent, I think. I think
What else
some
do
of
we
the
charge
classes
for?
are getting so large at this
Yeah.
point
Well,
that
it's,
they're
the
running
whole
too.
process started because our classes were getting too large here.
Right.
Yes.
So then, so I went to Jerry and said, hey, can we use, you know, the Taylor
Absolutely.
Pavilion? And at the time, you know, I said, hey, if we paid for our instructors, but we paid for some of the rec instructors, I think you'd be
Because
able
we
to-
can't pay for the building. Is that the
Right,
driver?
we are not allowed to pay for the building,
Mhm.
that's correct. Yeah, so the idea is we pay for the instructors, and then I said to Jerry, hey, and then really, the residents could go for free then, you know what I mean? And I thought, but for the library events for a year or two, we should maybe just keep it the same and have it not be a charge for non-residents. I just want the board to know what it is that you know.
Do you know what our numbers are in terms of the amount residents versus non-residents?
It's about 50, it depends on the.
class.
Yeah, the class, it's like 50-50. I did that with Barry, and, so my calculation was that on a low day, there's let's say 10 non-residents coming. Not counting chair yoga is huge.
Right.
It is a ton of people. And that's something to consider. But chair yoga's already paying, okay, the non-residents. Okay, we're just talking about Tuesday, which is Healthy Steps Tuesday.
We're talking about specifically the programs
That
that were
started as
conceived by the library.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct,
And we own them.
correct, yes. So that is Healthy Steps and Strength and Balance, which is Tuesday, And then Friday, it's Tai Chi and Healthy Step, and Strength and Balance again on Friday, Erica again. So there's four programs that are ours now. It was 5 at one time with chair yoga being on Wednesday as well, but we don't have that right now, but we could bring that back.
If we do this, does the fact that we'd be charging $5, does that change the final authority of who says whether we continue these classes or not? Because if these are library original classes, do we retain the right as a, to decide whether to continue or add?
I think what it comes down to is if we want to hand it to recreation as their events supported by the library, that it's a collaboration. That's my recommendation, that they're rec events supported by the library. But if you want to keep it the way it's happening, it's a little confusing, a little clunky, but again, you can say these were original libraries events, and we're going to keep it as free for non-residents. So it's really your choice.
I think going down the road of charging for library services.
When we were over at on 7th Avenue at the church, didn't we charge non-residents? I think we charged residents too.
There was some charging
There
before
were
I got
charges.
here for events,
Yeah.
for things.
Yes, that was just, when you came on, we had,
I think it's Adriana and
Gloria.
Oh, okay.
Adriana.
I was like, I'm hearing kids. I'm getting nervous.
They were upstairs with Sue. She
Okay, I'm
was-
sorry, I'm sorry.
I think there was, I think we gave it with yoga. and I-
Here or at the
At
community center?
Seventh Avenue.
So
Right.
community center, even though,
Yeah,
but
'cause I
again,
remember
that was
you could put the money-
considered
Right.
a
That was
lot.
when we had collected money, put it in cash.
In the envelope, and it had to be driven
Bring it
over the
there.
same day over to, yes, I remember that,
Yeah,
yes.
so there was
So
that.
they were charging.
I think even just from a business
Was it
perspective.
an office?
And I think at that point, if I'm not mistaken,
that?
was
Is it locked?
everyone paid for
Yeah, so
it?
it's fucking-
Yeah, resident or
Everyone was
non-resident.
paying
$2,
Yeah, exactly.
$2.
But they-
Everyone was paying $2.
$2?
Okay.
Okay.
And yoga started here, right here on this floor.
And I remember, however, when we first started talking about having Barry take over originally, this is when Roe was still here, we were told by the administration at the time that we weren't allowed to be doing what we were doing. We weren't supposed to be charging any money for anything. Okay, so, but that was when everything was library run and operated. And so they made us stop taking money. And it's only when we transferred some of the classes to Barry that they started putting in charging $5. Okay, and they upped it to $5 in fact.
And that
So,
was just
Look,
for
we might-
non-residents.
Just
for non-residents.
Well, even with the recreation department, if you play soccer, you pay to play soccer.
Right.
Right.
You know, either resident, non-resident, you pay for that.
But non-residents will pay an increased fee.
Correct.
We do for summer camp, we do for, there's a whole bunch of
They
things.
do.
where-
So non-residents pay a higher fee.
That's
But
correct.
that's the
Okay.
town.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
the town.
recreation.
That's recreation.
Right.
My statement is, I think there should be a free public library, not a free public library with an asterisk on it.
So
So we're talking $10,000 a year.
So, but,
Well, we're talking $10,000 a year to get people from other towns into our community and see what Belmar really is from the inside is very inexpensive marketing. You know, when you're trying to market a town, you could spend quite a bit of money to do so. And when you market the town and you get people excited about the town, my property value goes up. So I'm happy. I make money on it. So for that $10,000, everyone that's a taxpayer in the town is getting an incremental benefit. You know, so it's not thrown away money or burnt money. And philosophically, I really don't think the library should be charging,
so the question.
specifically under that model, but
So-
charging in general.
So the question I have for you then is, if we handed the 4 classes to recreation, are you saying that we shouldn't support those
They shouldn't pay for it.
shouldn't pay for any of
They
it.
shouldn't pay for it. They can then use the money they're generating to offset the cost of it if it's a program that they feel important enough to advance.
My concern would be that if it is a money issue down the road for recreation, that some of the programs that the library has put in will be one of some of the first
They'll
to
be cut.
go.
They'll be cut.
And that's a problem to me.
That's a problem.
Because
Well-
that was a problem when we couldn't support it when we were, when the church
It's-
closed.
well,
It was a
like-
huge, it might not be your problem, but it is a
No,
problem.
I think, I am not advocating eliminating programs.
I'm just
not
saying there's a problem.
advocating defunding any programs. I think these programs that we have are important for not just the taxpayer community that we seem to be focusing on. And don't get me wrong, I understand the need to focus on constituents and taxpayers. But I think those programs are important for a much larger community. And I think there's other reasons, like I said, my example on marketing for the town, marketing the town. You know?
Well, people were coming regardless before, from when they knew that we had these programs, they wanted to come from outside of the town. You're still gonna have that. People want,
Good.
whether
I think
they're
that's
paying
great then.
$5 or not, you're still gonna come.
Do they ever have to turn someone away because there's not enough space?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
then that wouldn't be fair to a taxpayer?
We did when we
Like,
had it
I
set
would
up.
think that as a taxpayer, they should have the
Well,
priority.
we had that problem here, and patrons used to complain and say, well, I don't think it's fair that there's non-residents here and we can't fit in, you know.
Right.
But that's why we went, you know,
But,
detailed.
so, okay, so we don't
Chair
turn anyone
yoga
away?
chair yoga sometimes is way too
There's like
crowded,
40
but other
people
than that,
for that particular one.
other than the other ones, no.
Because I feel like if a Belmar resident went to a wall activity, they're paying.
They're paying,
They're not getting it for free.
That's true.
whether it's a
So why
library.
should Wall be able to come here for free? I mean, that's just my opinion.
I don't think they know, that people who are coming to take these classes really don't distinguish that that's a library program, that that's a non-library program.
No. It's all back.
I try to have them.
I do a lot of them.
I try to have them realize that, because it's free and they sometimes seem confused why they don't have to pay, and I say, because it's a library event, but,
This is a mess.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, do we want to do a vote, or I just want to, we don't need to, it's, I mean, we could do a resolution and vote, or we could do a vote, it's up to you, whatever. But I would just like to, should we just keep it the same, or make the change?
Why don't you put it in the form of a motion?
Oh, it can't come from me.
No, but
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
saying,
yeah.
and we'll put it in the form so we know exactly what we're voting for, because this has been going back and forth.
Is there?
I would make a motion to keep it the same.
Keep what the same? We
Keep
want to know.
the way it is right
Some
now,
pay-
which
some
means that
pay,
those
some don't.
four,
No modification.
classes are free to everyone. And that the ones that are originally rec will stay what they are right now, which is $5 for non-residents. Well,
We
that's
don't-
up to them.
we
That's
don't
up to
collect
them.
that money.
Yeah,
Right.
that's up
Whatever
to,
they decide
that's
to
up to them.
charge.
But I would say that if we decided to totally hand it to them and not fund the instructors with the classes, that could, they're gonna charge everybody, yeah.
They will.
Yeah. So Mike has his motion is that to keep them the same as it is right now, which is
To
Tuesdays
fund-
and Fridays, no one pays. Yeah.
To fund those programs fully.
Yeah, yes.
So non-residents
So-
and residents.
Right now, no one pays on
Right.
Tuesdays and
Nobody pays.
Fridays.
Library
Yeah,
sponsor.
right.
Residents and non-residents.
Right.
But nobody pays.
Right. So so his motion is that we keep it the same, which is no one pays on Tuesdays and Fridays, because they were originally just
No, 'cause they're our programs.
library events.
The other programs are rec programs,
Right.
but we fund
Okay.
the instruction, in gratitude for use of the space.
Yeah. And so, we have a motion, is there a second?
Are there any other motions then?
There you go.
Because if no one's,
Okay, so
Second.
is there would anyone like to do a motion to make the change that it would be rec events, and we would keep the same funding, and it would be a $5 charge for all events. So that's, someone, I can't do that.
Is that $5 when you're saying of all events, or are you saying $5? Would it mean that residents of Belmar would have to pay $5? No, that's what
No, you're just saying for non-residents.
Yeah.
Just paying for
Non-residents, yeah.
and when? 'Cause I think
Well,
that that's it.
my suggestion was that we would not do this for a month, to give them a heads up, maybe start in October or November or whatever, that's just my thought. I have said from the beginning to everyone that it could, these events, the Tuesday and Fridays, could possibly, have a $5 charge in the future for non-residents, but that's our board's decision.
I would make a motion for going forward with the, for non-residents to have a $5 charge for Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Tuesday and Fridays.
Yeah, Tuesdays and
So
Thursdays.
so the idea would be
Well,
that they would
it would be a $5
events.
charge for library-run fitness events.
On Tuesdays and Fridays.
Is that what you wanted? The problem, my thought would be that it would be better to hand it off to recreation, so it's all the same. That if they're recreation supported by the library, all the events financially. So that would be a better way to do it, so it's not a public library charge.
Right.
Okay, I still need to hear the wording for this, yeah.
Do you want, so the verbiage would be that the recreation would take over the events. And that that we would continue to fund for the instructors for all of the classes.
So basically, the library will subsidize instruction for the recreation department.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
Do we want to make that for a specific time period for the next year? Because we would probably vote on this next
I would just say going forward in general, I think definitely.
Because I don't.
There's a change
you
of
wanna
heart,
go back
just
to
do it.
Yeah.
But that motion would then give the rec center the possibility to eliminate programming.
Without our say so.
Eliminate
We give them the
or
opportunity
raise-
to charge
raise the
for,
right
to charge for,
charge.
for taxpayers. It's their program.
It's their program.
Do we know Barry's or Rex's feelings on this topic? I mean, has any of this been discussed?
Yeah,
as a
I've talked to
possibility?
Barry and said that I would be bringing it up to the board, but I said there's mixed feelings on the board.
I guess that's a question about commitment to keeping the programming. And maybe that's something that can be discussed.
Okay, so do you
further.
want me to talk to Kevin and Barry and communicate the concerns of the board? What do you want me to tell them the concerns of the board are?
I think the concerns that most of us would have would the classes all continue?
Yeah.
And would there be a proposed charge increase that they see in the future? Like, I'm sure for some people, you say $5 now, okay, I can deal with $5, but if you're saying it goes up to 8, 10.
Well, that's
that
gonna
could
be
But
their.
I know that's
a good.
But our cost is the $50 per hour for the instructor. So that, I think that would be more your concern is how much,
I'm
what
thinking
we're
of the
willing to
patrons.
pay.
Yeah, I'm just
But
thinking of the patrons.
Yeah, but I think once we give that to them, I don't think
Then we're
we,
through it.
yeah, we can't,
You can't dictate.
yeah.
No,
dictate.
but I just wanted to know their feelings, like, is it something like, oh, yeah?
Honestly, I don't get that feeling,
No?
but yeah, I really don't, but I could be wrong,
I-
but
No,
I really
I don't think so either. I think it's
they, right, they wanna make it cost-friendly to everyone in regards to that, so that is something that I think the town considers a lot.
Well, the Taylor Pavilion as well, anytime someone's using the Taylor Pavilion, DPW, someone's working, to have that Taylor Pavilion being used. And so, and that's somewhat the same. The gym is somewhat less so because we're already there in the building, usually, 9 to 5. But I think that's, there are costs to the borough to have more people, more residents, whether it's residents, visitors, whoever, the more people there are, more patrons, more people there are.
Especially on Fridays when George is getting ready for an event, it's a challenge for him. We have and how he sets his schedule to clean for the, and there are things that cost for them, for the town, because we're using, the facility. And Barry has.
My mindset would be in favor of making sure we have control over the programs, that would be a cost burden that the library could take. We pay DPW to maintain the building, we pay DPW to fix them. If there is an incremental cost that Maria is describing associated with wear and tear, then we should evaluate paying that cost under our program. But again, I would advocate doing that under our programming and not as an a la carte additional charge based on whether or not you were a direct taxpayer in town or a direct resident in town.
Would you like me to get some more information for us to talk about this at the next meeting? Or do you want to do the motion? I just feel uncomfortable helping quite a bit with the motion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I should.
In your position,
yeah. Yeah, it should be someone giving the specifics to the motion and then a second, because I should.
I would like more information.
Me too. I'd like to specifically talk to Barry too, because I don't know what,
Okay.
it really all entails.
What information do you want me to get?
Could we get Barry to come to our next meeting?
Okay. All right.
Well, yeah, we want to know about the continuation of the programming. I mean, clearly the library is not going to support something. I think that, that idea of, well, then we would pull our support if, program goes up in cost or a program is no longer, clearly is eliminated. We'd have to figure that out. So it might have to be for like this year or for a small amount of time. I think it's about the commitment.
Yeah, I think it's not just Barry, but it's actually speaking to the board about the board knowing, the town council knowing that the board here is not comfortable with just saying, we're paying for it and we're letting it go, right? That's what I'm hearing.
I was specifically not comfortable with charging for library services on an a la carte basis and on an arbitrary and capricious basis.
But if it's
for this program and not that program with no demonstrable incremental.
But I guess I would ask you, Mike, is what's the difference between our support to the school right now? So we're supporting the school for programs.
I specifically want to bring middle-aged children into the building and build a gateway or bridge between the school community and the library to get a underserved demographic, which is the tweens, into our programming and into our library case. That's the specific reason I would say we're supporting school programs.
I totally agree, but in terms of financially, that it is there's school programs supported by the library, and they are rec programs supported by the library because of our.
So are you advocating charging the students?
From non-residents? No.
Well, I'm agreeing with you 100% on the mirror side of that.
Right, okay.
I am not saying we shouldn't support that initiative.
Right.
And I'm not saying we shouldn't support this initiative.
Right.
I'm just saying we should have a policy that spells out services we charge for.
Right.
It's hot.
But it really comes down to us supporting the instructor, because we're giving these programs to rec. And then we're supporting the pay for the instructor, because we can't pay for the facilities.
I understand.
You know what I mean? So that's really where I'm coming. But listen, it will be no problem to say it's still free, you know, it just makes sense to me to do it that way, but I know it doesn't.
Just word your resolution correctly and vote me down. It's an up-down vote. I'm not gonna change my perspective with regard to what I'm going to call arbitrary and capricious selection of programming to be charged.
Gotcha. Okay. So do we want to?
It was an up-down vote right there.
So does someone want to do a motion with a vote, or do you want me to come back with information? That's really someone who needs to.
I'd like some more information.
Okay. You were going to do a motion. Do you want to do a motion, or you want me to come back?
Come back if
Yeah, come back.
you want more information.
Okay.
You want Barry to be president at that meeting.
Sure, and I think it's important because of my communication with Jerry too,
Correct.
in terms of how we were supporting this and the idea of residents not paying. That's what I'm worried if it, you know, changes. So, okay, all right. All right, so that was old business. Now we're in new business.
New business, well, actually, I do have something about the old business, and maybe you can give us a little information. From the last time we had spoken, we had talked about like something with the fishing club. Is there something that's in the works with that, or we're gonna wait to talk about it?
So they're a vendor. They filled out the packet with the vendor, and they are going to be billing us based on the hours, based on what was approved by the board,
right.
2,500 each, yeah.
Right.
So I've been talking to Jimmy, and he's been meeting with the people that are in charge of that program. And again, that's just, yeah, yep. And I reminded, you know, that 2,500 is, we can afford that really in this budget. But going forward, if they need more hours, that would be something that would have to be approved by Bill if it was more than 2,500 in the future. But I have been, I met with the business administrator in terms of how it's just going to be done the same way as a service and that we're paying.
And there's another class too, right? The tech something?
Yeah, the esports.
Okay.
What's that? The esports?
It is here.
Yeah, so as much that we can bring here, that's the idea, is that to bring students to us. So we're gonna have meetings for the fishing club here. If there's bad weather, there might be, have to stay there, but whenever we can, we have them here. Yep.
I'll save that for another day.
Yeah.
And I guess the only thing that I do want to make sure that we can make a decision on would be the bench location for outside. I'd like to get that done today so we can let DPW.
Yeah, DPW said that they would be able to take care of it in terms of what's required to have it secure.
Well, they just have like throw some concrete down and.
Yeah.
You might? Yeah, I mean, they have standards. I have it came from the company, but it will go into the ground. So do you want my thought would be to have it just on the grass with not its own huge slab, just where it's supported. Yeah, but I really need to know where it is. I think, if everyone can give their opinion and then just tell me where you want it.
How about we just go around, can we just go around and get everyone's opinion on,
I think Maria, Bruce, and Danielle and I decided, we thought it would be a good spot move the bike rack and put it right there. Because this way it's in the front of the building where people can see it. I mean, that's a beautiful thing to not.
Where would we put the bike rack? I'm not disagreeing, I'm just saying.
The bike rack go like
right over here.
back this area.
Yeah, probably back.
Yeah.
We just thought like it would get what is this, East Street, 10th.
Right. It's accessible
Yeah.
from all in.
And it has
And it's
shade
under
there,
the
too.
tree too,
Facing which way?
facing the corner, right? We're saying like facing.
I would say facing the front steps, so that, right?
So the pictures of the library would be facing this way?
It would be facing the
And the
street.
back?
The back would be to to the building, right?
The back would be to the building. So it would be like, if this is the corner of the building, it would be
Facing like
facing
the door?
like that.
Like underneath the tree. So the tree is behind the back of the book.
Facing
Seat would be out.
10th Avenue.
Yeah.
On an angle or like this?
Really?
Or like-
Doesn't matter, yeah, I don't know what, I think just because we've been doing so many of the music concerts, as far as sitting, you'd wanna,
Yeah, you
but I, you know what,
But
but
it'd be
maybe
blocked
that doesn't
anyways
matter.
of all the trees and the bushes and the steps. You wouldn't be able to see the live music.
I don't think the live music would be a big driver on something like that, because only significant people, you know.
Yeah,
The
it's
use-
only
the
gonna
use of the product
a couple of
would
kids
be
and 2 adults.
much more significant there than the rest of the day.
Yeah, no, you're right.
My concern also with putting it in that direction, you wouldn't see the back of it at all, and they have to have full range to go all the way around to clip and, you know, keep it neat in terms of
I would also be concerned with moving the bike racks, because we do have people that use them,
that's their spot.
you know, and having them closer to the front of the building, going in the front door, I think would be more advantageous than pushing them to the back and
Okay.
having them back. I personally like the idea of putting it back here, because I think this particular portion of our landscape has been underdeveloped, you know? I think if we placed it back here, it could give us an opportunity to work with it as a focal point with some landscaping around it to better develop that portion of the property. Positioning it just so you're not staring at the parking lot, but also positioning it out so it's a focal point in the center and it's visible from 360 degrees to appreciate the art on both sides. I think that would be one of our better opportunities, you know. Bring it out here, perhaps facing the intersection at a slight angle so that you can get around it, put it in the center of the section, and then put some plantings around it. I think we could really highlight that portion of the property. Because otherwise, just a.
You're talking about the corner over here?
The corner.
Yeah, I like it better right here.
My question is, are people gonna, is it supposed to be sat on?
Yeah.
Or is it supposed to be just viewed?
Sat on.
So sat on, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta take that in consideration too, you know, as far as the location.
So I was looking, I'll just get my 2 cents. So here's the tree, that one over there. This is the driveway. I like little demos. So this is the driveway. I was thinking, if we're thinking that this is E Street, okay, this is the driveway, this is the tree. If we somehow had it here, you could then still go around the tree and around the bench and still plant whatever, small things around it or whatever, because there will be another bush out there on the other side of where the light post is right now. If you put it here, it's too close to the sidewalk, and I was afraid of when there's bad weather or snow or something like that, and they come through with a snowplow, it's gonna get hit. So I thought here was safer, back here you're not gonna see it, here you're too close to the driveway. So that was just my logical thinking.
Is a really big area along there?
There's one big tree that's over there as well. I looked at it and I thought the same thing, but I would love for something to be over here. There's like nothing. It's just a tree. The giving tree, per se. So either one. I know with what we have in terms of the front, when you're on 10th and you're looking at the building, you've got almost everything symmetrical. You've got one wrought iron here, you've got one wrought iron here, you've got the rose garden in the front, you've got the digital sign. So when you look at it, it's pretty much even on both sides. It's just mathematically the way I was thinking. Whereas back here, we have nothing. So that was just my way. We're gonna vote on it, but that was just my way of thinking. I would love to sit under the tree and be able to look out and see everyone going by on East Street.
I kind of like the idea of it being back there, but in a way I don't, because I think it's too far away from the line, you know, and especially, that's a substantial piece of, you know, and substantial to the gentleman that gave a lot to the library. So to me, that's kind of like, well, I'll stick you in the back.
Put any bench
You
back
know?
here.
That's the only thing, I mean, it's a nice location, but I just feel like, you know, even the same thing with Mrs. Gallagher's tree. You know, is pushed to the back, like that's what I was thinking the whole time about when we were discussing. That's the only thing about it, when you have something that you're honoring somebody with, I mean, like, you know, if anything, move that guitar from somebody
Oh,
that
yeah.
hasn't even come to the library. Or they put a big old guitar there. You know, I mean, that's just my two
Would it be
cents about it.
feasible to move one of
Yeah.
the benches from the front back here and put that one
I
in the
don't
front?
think,
Is that, or is that?
I know that it only fits around certain trees.
What about without benches that's right smack in the middle in the front there?
Or
In
the
front.
faces, the different
Face in
ones.
the front of the house.
It's,
so,
I like it, but it's so right in front.
Yeah, but you're
So-
sitting on it, it's supposed to be
I know,
accessible,
I'm just
right?
thinking of bad things, that's all. And that was really busy, but it can happen anywhere, so I'm just trying to be positive.
If we had one that's on this side, or that, let's say we start on, you know, on either side, but even if we had it on the left side of the building, by whatever those, the purple lilac, I don't know what they're called, the lilacs or whatever, then maybe someone would want to donate in honor and get another fiberglass book. I'm with this symmetry too, I understand where you're going, you know, but like maybe that's something that could then be added at another time as
There
well.
comes a point too where big fiberglass book benches start to detract from the architectural appeal of the historic building.
But it's good.
I mean, it was kind of special, which, sure, she would, the donor, that I'd said, you know, we probably have it somewhere for that, meditate with it, so. But.
Well, I think,
Is that
I
something
think
she
right,
wants?
right now, as the space stands,
Mhm.
well, it's not a great spot.
Right.
But I think we could also look at investing in developing around it to make it more of a focal point. You know, it's a book bench. Read a book on a book bench, that's a quietish area, it's still on a street frontage. You know, we're not burying it back next to the generator, you know? And that area should be improved. That would give a good reason to do so.
So I would, if we did put it back there, I think that we need to make sure that as we put it back there, we make the improvements at the same time.
Absolutely.
So that it's not something, we put it back there and then a year later, we're gonna put, you know, some improvements as far as landscaping. Like if that gets moved there, then the landscaping needs to be done immediately.
Right, so that it's a beautiful, like you're.
Exactly, they would make it, you know, you pop it in a sense like that, yeah, absolutely.
And that it's not facing
that will
your
have to
body
be
and
from a
stuff.
landscape.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
we have to
we'll
do, yeah,
look
we
at
have
that,
to,
yeah.
Yeah,
Once we
friends,
get
yeah,
another
friends.
Yeah.
Once we get a
no, I
different-
just mean, I don't think that's something we should have DPW.
I don't have a problem with that, I just have it.
They should pick out what to put, they can dig the holes.
I
Yeah.
just think that
I like doing that.
based,
It's calm.
you know, like it was the building that he loved. And in that spot, it's the face, the back of the library,
Well, it
right? And
would
the
be-
porta john.
Well, the
No,
porta
the way it'd be,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, I see what you were saying about the front face, so that it's like if you're sitting on the bench, you're looking at the building. I don't know. Just my 2 cents.
Come around, asking what the library would like to have if they were thinking about something for a loved one or something like that? Because you can almost, you know, as long as you're thinking about the overall look of things, you could be a little proactive about this and start to have a plan about where you would like to see some things that were gonna be focal points. And, you know, maybe that way, then you don't have to think about, okay, where we put this, then this is going to influence everything that everybody sees forever. You know, we can just have a growing sort of,
A policy.
policy.
You wouldn't call it that.
No, I call it a plan.
A policy on how to handle such donations.
Yeah, because it's getting to the
Yeah.
point where you're not gonna be able to put much more on the land.
Yeah,
that
and
we
they're
have
very
here.
different, these things that are coming along, and I'm beginning to think grounds for sculpture now, that, you know, so.
Right now, there's a very cohesive aesthetic
Is there a paper over here?
appeal to the property as a whole.
That I could color us?
And my
Okay.
concern is undoing that balance, you know. And when you look at everything, it looks well curated, it looks well put together, except this corner, which looks abandoned. You know, so using this as an opportunity to develop that section without unbalancing the other aesthetics on the both sides of the building.
It looks ugly, and like that corner's going to sink into the ground.
bulbs and
Yeah,
stuff
where's the
that's there.
background?
All right, so President, do you want to do it? We need a-
Well,
Because I would say, you know, normally I'd say if it was something that we wanted to think about, I'd say, okay, we can talk about it at the next meeting, but that needs to go somewhere that can't be kept here,
Yeah.
or, you know, where,
and it has to
so.
have a double seal, so we need to have it in a location.
Share that with everybody though.
I did kind of, when I spoke to the donor, who I've spoken to several times, you know, we had mentioned at one point, somewhere in the back. I didn't say there, I didn't, you know, somewhere in the back. Because I think she knows what it looks like from the front of the building as well. So I think there's two ways we can handle this, and I really don't want to prolong this. I can see if I can get her here to see what her wish is, which is gonna be, she doesn't live locally anymore. She doesn't live locally anymore, she's, yeah, it's a long story. But I know that she's very anxious to come and see it here, very anxious. So that was kind of the reason why I was hoping we could just kind of vote on it, DPW
The fact
come
that
and.
you've talked to her though about this, I mean, I don't think any of us is, you know, absolutely, it has to be, maybe not, I don't know.
You insinuated that I was insinuating. Oh my goodness.
No, but I mean, I think we'd all be happy if she's happy,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
so.
Yeah. And we did have a community member
Excuse me.
Say that.
I could take a picture of the 2 or 3 locations and maybe send it to her overnight
You can
and say.
Photoshop it into those.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to see it.
She doesn't want to see it, she wants to be surprised.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
You
if
could-
we had the
you could
blank
take-
black.
You could take an aerial from Google and put the locations, you know, if we're
Can you throw that
undecided.
together for me, Mike?
Should she have that much say?
Well, do you want to ask the question, is the question.
Right.
What question are you asking? Do you want it here, do you want it there?
Right,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
exactly,
Do you have any problem with us putting it in this location?
right, yeah.
I would just give her 2 locations and not make it any more than that.
I wouldn't ask her which one, I would ask if she had a problem with either one.
Right.
Because ultimately, I don't want to give up the board's decision
Right,
Right.
to somebody else.
okay, so I will make this motion then. Would the board approve me actually contacting her with asking if she's okay if the board puts it in one of these 2 spots?
I think you can do that without a motion.
Yeah,
You can do that without a motion.
Yeah.
And then,
Can we vote electronically when?
Yeah, I think that would be
With an answer?
perfectly fine.
Because it's not a cost.
It's not a cost.
It's not a cost. See, when Sharon and I were talking, and we were saying, oh, yeah, let's do it there, and then when I thought to myself, I just said, we've got to bring this.
And I said,
It's
we're
a-
never gonna come to a consensus.
Yeah.
And I was right. I was right.
But it's a facility decision, the board has to, anything to do with
Yeah.
facilities.
But we can get that landscaping, I think that part
That's-
is,
that's
it's
very
for me to get
You're
her
fine if
feels.
she's okay,
When
so
they get
the idea is
good,
if she's okay with back there, we landscape it,
Put one down.
she says, yes, we're good, is that what?
why would we need to ask her, that's the thing. You know, if we're gonna do it, why do we have to ask her?
The only question that I would see asking would be, do you have any problem with this?
Right,
Just for the sake of courtesy. Now,
right.
I don't know if her input would change my opinion, I don't think it would, but
Yeah.
it would be good to get the full data set.
And should I just say, when I send the picture of the tree, I'll come during the day tomorrow, and say, am I only gonna show her 1 tree, or am I showing her 2 trees? I just need to know.
Start with
Just kind
one,
of the-
start with one.
Just show her the 1?
Okay, yeah, the location.
I think the
This is
contention,
where
I
we're gonna
think,
put it, and this is how we're gonna, you know.
I think part of the contention that the board has is whether or not that would be received poorly. So if we can find out whether or not that would be received poorly, that would be a data point that the group could take and make their open opinion.
Okay, so my question is, do you have any, this to her, do you have any problem with the bench being placed in this area?
Good.
Okay, and then, as soon as I hear back from her, hopefully it's a yes, then we can, vote on it, and then we can get the information to
If you
Dave,
do
so
it
that Dave
virtually.
can do, yeah.
Okay, and I'll talk to Billy.
And then you also need to talk about landscaping, like, once you put it, get it in, that area needs to be
Well,
done.
that's
It
gonna
needs
be
to
over,
done.
could be over 2,000, so that's gotta be something that will
Unless we get a donation. Right, that
So
changes.
that's, yeah,
That
so
would
that's,
change
that's
it.
why I need to.
Well,
meet with you.
maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
Right, but it might be, so that's why it has to, and it should, it's a
It has to
facility
be
thing, it should be
maintained.
discussed then, yeah.
Do we have to discuss that if it's maintenance? If we just have DPW do the work?
Do we have to discuss that? No.
And it's not, then
If
the
it's
the $2,000 threshold doesn't apply if we're using DPW labor.
If
to do
they're,
the
if
associated
they're
work.
doing it, right, we don't, but, yeah, I'm just, yeah, I'm comfortable.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
I understand your concern.
Okay.
I understand your concern.
Yeah, yeah.
The aesthetics, goes back to the
Yeah,
aesthetics.
yeah.
You talk to a friend.
Okay, good.
Is there anything that we need before I need to?
Yeah, we do have public comment, is there any way you could
I
hear
guess.
public comment?
Yep,
Can we move the
Yes.
public comment?
Yeah.
Rob, before, Anita, would you mind if we let Rob go first, since it's his first time?
Yeah,
You wanted to
sure,
give a,
absolutely.
is that okay?
Absolutely.
You wanted to, yeah, sorry about, this is honestly the longest meeting I've ever had. I haven't
You know what,
been
I'll
here,
tell you,
I'm
it's-
sorry.
Thank
Yeah.
I will tell you,
And thank you, Anita, for your help.
this has really been eye-opening. Honestly, until I spoke with Dave the other day on Friday. First of all, my name is Rob Calabro. I live on 16th Avenue. Some of you may know my name that have seen me before. I've spoken to Maria about a number of things, but couple of things. I'll discuss a little bit in a minute what I came here to talk about, but just comments and things that I heard tonight. Just one piece on anything of the programs here, if I may. Anything, and I say this from a resident/taxpayer perspective. Okay, I've gone to those. Yes, I was the only man in there with my wife. Okay, with maybe 50 women. Okay, sweating up in the pavilion. Did it once, but then my back hurts. I can drink. But anyway, regardless. Anything that you can identify somebody coming and using our services that we have paid for as a town, those who are not part of the town should pay for that. Okay, that's just, so somebody comes here for a concert, you don't know where they're coming from, it's open for everybody, it's in the air, you know. But, you know, you said your children do the art program. I don't know if anybody outside the town can use it. If they do, would they pay for it? Yes, because you can identify that person who's coming in to do that. Just as the classes, okay, whether it's you know, rec doing it or the library doing it, if you can identify that user and they don't live here, they should pay for that. Okay, that's just my opinion. Okay. What I really came here for was, I know it's going to be near and dear to a lot of people's hearts, and I know many people have pets. We watch our son's dog. Our son's a police officer in Neptune, and when he can't watch his dog overnight because he works overnight, he brings him into our house. So what I'm leading to is, I've been at a number of the concerts here, and people bring dogs. I know you were there with your dog.
She was terrible, I'm so sorry, yep.
That's my point exactly.
Yep.
Okay. Donna was here with her dog, and there were a few others, and they keep them on the lawn, sitting next to them. Not every dog behaves well. Okay, Maria was nice enough, sensitive enough to take her dog and, you know, bring him to the, you know, or her, whatever, to the corner. Okay, away from where people are. But you have those dogs that are uncontrollable, or are, you can't tell what they're going to do when they're going to do it. But because I saw some dogs, you know, going after other dogs, going after people. So from somebody who wants to be and feel comfortable there, because there were a lot of people who were turning around and looking at these people with their dogs, and they weren't moving their dogs off the lawn. You know, they were sitting there, dog was barking incessantly, and people didn't seem to care. Okay, and you had to have seen it. Okay, my point is, for the good of the people coming, and so everybody can feel comfortable here, just, you can't ban them from the sidewalk, you can't ban them from the street, but from the lawn where people sit, I really believe that dogs shouldn't be there. You know, that's just my feeling, and I saw enough people, you know, reacting negatively to what was going on around them, trying to listen to the concert, you know, music is playing, and people are, you know, trying to listen to that, and, you know, there are all these things going on all around them. It's just, you know, something that I feel, you know, should be, have an end, you know, I feel.
We're taking into consideration what we talked about.
And I know it may be too soon, you know, to do it for next week.
Yeah.
But I mean, but something for the future, because, you know, there are a lot of people who don't like dogs. I mean, you know, and that's, you know, I'm not one of them, but, you know, there are people who have hard feelings, you know, strong feelings one way or the other. But I think we need to be inclusive to the point where we need to look at people as opposed to the comfort of the animal. And, you know, that's, you know, one thing. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I'm sorry for the, honestly,
no.
it's come some other time, it's usually now.
Another thought that I want to throw out there, when you said the library had a donation and we went outside and we saw the, you know, the bench, I had no idea it was a bench, okay? And because if you look at it the way it's sitting there, you know, the pictures of those libraries make it like it should be standing upright, like it's a book, okay? So if you hadn't said that this was a bench, I would have no idea it's a bench, okay? So my point there is that how many people are actually going to sit on it thinking it's a bench? Just consider that, because, you know, all of you are very close to this. So you've seen this before, you knew it was coming. Okay, I didn't. So my perspective on looking at this brand new, you know, is entirely different than what, you know, everybody else is. So just a thought.
Feel free to
I'm not going to change it.
Well, actually, easy to persuade with rational.
You know, I just, you know, I have a lot of strong feelings about a lot of things. My wife tells me to stay off Facebook because sometimes my opinions aren't same with other people. But thanks. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
And, you know, I just hope, you know, I've been here, I've been in Belmar, you know, since 1972. You know, I mean, my parents bought a house on 16th Avenue in 1972, and now I own it. You know, so we've been there for, you know, a long time. So.
My parents bought it.
Thank you for
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Along these lines, like the gentleman was saying, what about other activities in town? Let's say the seafood festival, let's say our concerts up on Main Street. I've seen dogs there, and I don't know, they're not banned, but you know,
Seafood festival there.
brought up a good point.
Seafood festival there.
And you see the beach.
They're not allowed at
You see the
seafood.
beach. That's a whole other issue entirely.
Right.
Okay. I mean, you know, it's supposed to be about October to May 15th or whatever it is. Okay.
Yeah.
April 30th.
Right.
I mean, even off time, like now. You know, I was on the beach today. People on there with their dogs. Not supposed to be. But I can't expect a police officer to be there to give everybody a ticket. But you know, there are things that I think people try to. Dogs are part of their family, okay, but they're not children, and maybe I should shut up. Because I, you know, so, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, I think that's why I have a lot of strong opinions on a lot of things. And I still have to talk to you about something else. Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
It's Anita's turn.
Do you have the dates for the October and November Board of Trustees meetings?
October is the 26th.
21st.
21st, I'm sorry, and let me look it up. It's usually the second, right? And let me just make sure there's no, 1 second.
October's now the 14th, that's Columbus Day, so we're closed Columbus Day.
Close Columbus Day.
So that's why it's the 21st. Okay.
11th, we have
Veterans
November
Day.
11th, which is Veterans Day.
But we're not closed for Veterans Day. But what did we put on, when we put it in the paper? Well, the 21st we did for October, and she's asking November as well.
So it's the 21st, right? October 21st would be our
Yeah,
next meeting.
but she also asked November. Do you have that, Louis, in terms of what we sent to the new fire on the agenda?
What was November?
I just want to make sure what we gave to the paper is
So if it is November 11th, Veterans Day, will that still be a meeting?
That's what
Because
we're
it's,
checking right now.
It's the
Yeah, I have a,
it's the 21st.
Yeah, because I remember discussing it, because we're not closed, it's not a holiday for the town.
so you will have a meeting?
Yeah, yes.
As everybody knows it's Veterans Day and,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. Is there any laws or policies about libraries charging or not charging because it is a public facility? Are there any guidelines? Like,
Yeah,
how does that work?
so I spoke to Bob Keith at the state, and it really comes down to, it doesn't say that you can't, but it says what you can charge for. So each town's attorney interprets it in different ways.
So
it says that you can charge fees, it says you can charge for a card, but it doesn't say that you can't, but it's implied that it's a free public library. So each library does it differently.
okay. I think you should, whether you're paying them or recreation, but I think the instructors, the fitness instructors should be getting more than $50. I've said this a number of times. Sometimes they have 50 people in the class, so it's like $1 a person. I mean, it's rather
50%
insulting.
over market value.
It's insulting to their experience and that they are attracting this many people. So I think that's something you should consider. And there is
Instructors usually get $35 a class.
not every facility and yoga teachers and other places, and their classes are not 50 people. They have like 12. What was I gonna say? Oh, I know you got hit with a lot tonight, but in the strategic plan there is a landscape design. Like what Pat was saying, that we kind of plot out where everything's going, so we have a future. There'll be more donations, and some trees are dying, and some trees are growing, and such like that. So it is there. It is. We did think of that, so I agree that should be considered. And thank you very much.
Any comments, Bruce? You had something you wanted to say?
No, I'm fine.
Any other comments? Meeting is adjourned.
Well, you have to have a
Oh,
motion.
we have to